Om Jnanatibadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militambena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him. So we've been going through it's supposed to be Mukunda Charana stay. Anyways, one of the monks who were here, but anyways, he had some complications, so he couldn't do it. So he asked me to. So we're going through this book, Light of the Bhagavat, and it's a book with illustrations, paintings of nature, and also what we could learn from nature. So tonight, it's number 6 in this particular book. So we'll be discussing that. You see that little froggy up there in the corner? So I'll just read the particular quote in relation to this frog picture, and then we could discuss. On hearing the sound of the torrential rains, the frogs come out of the mountain caves and begin to chant. Like brahmacharis or monks who chant the Vedic hymns, different mantras, by the order of the guru. What is it? Yeah, ribbit. So the frogs hear the torrential rains, and then they come out of the mountain caves and they begin to chant. Like monks who chant Vedic hymns by the order of the guru. So if we, first of all, my friend, he's a monk. Not all my friends are monks, but this one happens to be. His name is Bhakti Swami, and he is unique in the world. What he does is he walks. He takes these really long walks. Now, what's the longest walk or hike anyone has been on here? You could shout out or raise your hand, or don't raise your hand or don't shout out, but at least maybe somebody could. Yes. 23 miles. Okay. All in one stretch. Hour break. Okay. How long did that take you? 10 hours. Okay. So 50 miles. How long did that take you? Okay. It was a run. Okay. Got 50 miles. Yes. 110. Wow, it's getting higher. Multiple days. All right. 1,000? No, he's making it up now. You had your, okay. Oh, 26.2. Okay. So different numbers. 2 miles, huh? All right. 4 miles to a hot spring. Okay. Oh, really? I one time walked, anyways, it was from the San Diego airport to this temple. I live here at the temple. And I walked without a GPS or without a phone. It was also very late at night. It was like midnight. And I did that because someone didn't pick me up at the airport. I want to save a few bucks on the taxi. I had money, but I won't do that again though. I'll tell you the story another time. But I got kind of lost and sidetracked, and because I didn't, it's in the middle of the night, and I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a map. So eventually I found my way. A few things started looking familiar in Ocean Beach, and I started, okay, yeah, I know this street, and then I found my way. But it took a few hours. It took some hours. Yeah, I got here like at 4 o'clock in the morning. We wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so it's not like I went back to sleep. I kind of continue with the day's activities or morning meditation or whatever we're doing. So, anyways, it was fun, but I won't do it again. So this monk, Bhakti Marg Swami, what he does is he walks very long distance. He walked all across the whole of Canada a few times, I think. He walks in America, so he's a walking Swami, or walking monk. And he obviously takes breaks and camps out, and this way he's seeing the world and having fun, meditating along the way. But one time he was walking, and he started to think. He said, "I want to see something amazing. I want to see something amazing." Right. So he was out. It was just on some side of the road, and not many cars around, and we have long stretches like that. So he was walking, and he had this thought, and then some time passed, and all of a sudden he sees this humongous bear coming towards him on the road, and the bear's not a happy camper. He's got his claws out, and he's charging him. And my monk friend, he was with another person. So they're like, okay, well, what do we do? They have some idea that you could like play dead, right? And the bear will leave you alone. Grizzly. Okay, grizzly. Thank you. Grizzly bear. Has anybody ever encountered a bear and had to act like you're sleeping or something? No? All right, good. I hope it never happens to you. So they said, okay, what do we do? And they didn't want to take that route of, playing dead. So they were walking, and this bear was charging them, and they said, okay, well, you hop to that side of the road, and I'll hop to the other side of the road. So these two guys just hop to each side of the road, and they're hiding out there in the canal or whatever. So then, but the bear was still kind of scourging, was looking for them, and then at the very, down some miles, or down some way down the hill there, you hear one of these diesel trucks coming, and they honk their horn. So then that somehow they spooked the bear out or whatever, startled the bear, and the bear just ran off. So he was saying that I have to be careful what I wish for. But in relation to that, playing dead, well, of course he didn't play dead, but you can play dead. If anybody's ever had the experience here, maybe, everyone here was a young child at one point, or maybe some of you have children, maybe not, but it's a common thing, or at least I've experienced, and with my siblings and myself, and I heard it's a common thing. But when kids are sleeping, and then it's time for them to get up in the morning, they just like to not get up. They may act like they're sleeping or whatever. So they hesitate. And there's that saying that to wake somebody up, if they're pretending to be asleep, very difficult, because they're pretending. It's like, hey, wake up. Oh, I'm sleeping. They're pretending. I don't know if anybody, I'm sure someone here has pretended to sleep before. I remember when I was like, 6 years old or something. I was really shy. I still am kind of shy, but we were going to some kind of, my mother was taking us to some type of function where there was a lot of people, and for a shy person, it's like, oh, a lot of people, great, sign me up. It's not a very attractive thing to meet with a lot of people, usually if you're shy. So I wasn't very thrilled about it. And aside from that, it was in Oregon. Anyways, nothing wrong with Oregon, but so yeah, we're on our way, and then we're almost there, and then I went to sleep. And then I remember this, people coming up to the car and, talking to my mother, and I heard it because I was pretending to be asleep. And, oh, that's your son. Okay, yeah, oh yeah, he's sleeping. And so I was pretending. I didn't want to get up. But if somebody's actually sleeping, then it's easier to get them up. You just make some noise, or right, people set alarm clocks. So we see that the power of sound has the ability to wake us up out of our slumber, out of our night slumber, or whenever we sleep. It has the power to wake us up, and therefore, I suspect probably a lot of people here, they use alarm clocks, if not everybody. They work. Similarly, some of our great teachers in this particular tradition, they have written many songs, and one of them is saying, he's addressing whoever's reading this song of his, that Jeev Jago, which means wake up, sleeping soul. It says, wake up, sleeping soul. And what does that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to be a sleeping soul? Wake up, sleeping soul. It means, and then he goes on to explain that you've been sleeping in the lap of the witch Maya for so long, in illusion, in ignorance. So wake up. And this is also there in different scriptures of India, to wake up. Now, you could say, fluffing that out, what does it mean to be sleeping? Well, to be sleeping means that we have forgotten ourselves, and we have forgotten the goal we're striving for, and we'll stick with that for now. Like, for example, when we sleep, we lay down, we go to sleep, right? We'll probably all do that tonight. We lay down, we go to sleep. Now, in that dream state, we may dream that, like my friend Trump one time, that he was somehow or other an animal in the forest. That's kind of an interesting dream, right? You're imagining you're an animal in the forest. And then what happened is he was in a tree, monkey in a tree going around, and then he fell. And while he fell, he started getting devoured by a lion. Kind of a scary dream. Tir Tamaraj had that dream. But you wake up and you realize, hey, I'm not a monkey, and hey, I'm not being devoured by a lion. So, good news. But the point being that we forget our identity in this daydream, or in this life we're experiencing. As we know it, we forget. And we may think that we're something we're not, like a monkey or a giraffe or a whatever. We have all these conceptions in our dream of ourselves. And forgetting the goal, I mean, maybe some of you here, well, if we had, anyways, I know Chris O, we call him Chris O. There's a lot of Chris's around. His last name starts with an O. So Chris O, maybe he's watching now, but he's not here right now, but in person, he's going to school to be a professor. But when he sleeps at night, generally speaking, how much is he really conscious of that goal? Only when he awakes is he conscious of that goal, and practically strives towards it. You may be conscious in a dream, but striving for it's another thing, and they're actually being reality. Like, we're fixing up the front of the temple here. It's a long process. I'll spare you the details, but recently I was sleeping and I was dreaming that I was discussing with the workers there. Okay, do this, do that, okay, I think we should do this. And then I woke up and I said, didn't do that actually, but so tangible progress is difficult to make, sleeping. So similarly, in material existence or material life, people have forgotten themselves. They have forgotten themselves. Means they're under a conception that there's something they're not. Now, what's an example, Mukunda, you could think of? Of somebody thinking there's something they're not. All right. Example that I'm thinking of that I thought maybe you would bring up, but you didn't, which is fine. It's okay. I'll bring it up. Is people are thinking they're their material body. They're thinking they're their material body. So this is, we all have bodies here. And people are thinking that they're their body, which is a mistake, at least according to this particular tradition. Has anyone taken calculus here? Yes. Okay. You did too, Mukunda? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I got a few. Okay. How'd you like it? Didn't like it? Okay. How'd you like it? It was good. Okay, good. I wasn't so great at math, but anyways, but if you have an equation, sometimes these equations could span a whole chalkboard, right? Starting from the beginning to the end. It's a lot there. Now, if there's some miscalculation in the beginning or the middle or towards the end, then not going to get the proper result or answer. So similarly, people are searching for happiness all over the world, wherever you go. But if there's a mistake in the calculation of who they think they are, that's like a mistake in the equation. So in other words, we don't get the real happiness or the full happiness, or we don't get what we're supposed to get. We may get something, but we don't get exactly what we're supposed to get in terms of happiness. So thinking oneself, the body is like that. Because the body is, like, for example, they say my hand, right, is hurting, which is true. I don't exactly know how it happened, but my hand is hurting. You wouldn't guess that, right, if I didn't tell you. My hand is hurting, okay? And you say, my knee, and you say, my left eye, and you say, my nose, right? Or you say, my big toe, whatever, my. Now, a logical explanation of this is that we also say, okay, my harmonium, this is my harmonium, or this is my microphone stand, or this is my sweater. Glenn got me this sweater, thank you. This is my sweater, right? And so on, so on, so on. But there's clearly a difference between the sweater and myself. Therefore, I'm speaking like my. There's a difference between the thing and the owner, myself, the object and the owner. So similarly, just as we're saying my microphone, my sweater, my book, we also say my nose, right? My hand hurts. So who is that I? Who is the possessor of the hands and the nose, and it's all separate from us. In other words, we're the indestructible soul, spirit. So to arise to the occasion, right? To give up the slumber means to realize that more and more and more, that we're different from the body, and therefore the happiness that we're searching for through the body is not where it's at. It's not where it's at, where happiness lies. Just like in postmodern times, times we're living in, there's this whole idea of, at least with some people, not all people, but like hookup culture. I just sleep around with as many people as possible. I don't do that. I'm a monk. I've just been a monk for almost 15 years now in this temple, but just hook up as with many people as possible, right? Sleep with as many people as possible. Goes on in Pacific Beach and all over the world, and then in this way, I'll really experience happiness. But it's just very insignificant, temporary gratification of the material senses, which ultimately, through indulging in over and over and over again, that's a principle of hookup culture, just disturbs the mind. There's actually no peace. And actually, over time, people will see that it actually leads to insanity. Because the whole principle of insanity is that an aspect of it is that the mind is not peaceful. Because to be sane means to have a peaceful mind, one of the aspects of sanity. But overindulgence in these things, like hookup culture, it actually disturbs the mind so much. I've spoken with people who have engaged like that, and yeah. So, but still, the need for enjoyment's there. So, what are we supposed to do? Just become monks, become nuns? I don't think everybody's going to do that. And therefore, we have such mantras like this, Hare Krishna, that we're just chanting now. And that actually provides what we need in terms of happiness. Not happiness for the body, but it's a spiritual happiness, which is actually better. It trumps material happiness. So yeah, that's one of the things. If somebody's sleeping, they don't know who they are. Another thing is they forget their goal. They forget the goal, the ultimate goal of their life, or even temporary goals, but they forget. So under the conception that one is a physical body, they think that people under this conception will think that my main goal in life is just material acquisition, getting stuff, right? I want to fill up my closet with thousands of dollars worth of stuff. I want to fill up my house with stuff. And this is the goal of my life. But it's under the sleeping condition, one forgets the goal, which is not that. The goal is to awaken to one's spiritual identity, to remember who they are. And it's not that we're against stuff. I mean, we have. There's a beautiful temple here. See the beautiful, decoration in the temple and instruments and so on. Traveling. So we're not against stuff, but there's a particular, you could say, greed that manifests under the material conception of life that really just doesn't pan out. So therefore we need if somebody wants to accept anything I'm saying, for those who want to are thinking of treading a spiritual path, or are treading a spiritual path, or spiritual seekers, we need some type of process that awakens us. And this is what's being mentioned here. The guru, by the inspiration of the guru, one chants all these different mantras, and therefore one wakes up. which wakes up to their spiritual identity. They wake up to real happiness. They wake up to understanding the ultimate goal of life, and in this way, they experience the human right, or is that the right word? Human right? Maybe huh? Anyone have any better ideas? The human potential. Yeah, that's better. They experience. They're able to fulfill as human beings the real potential. So, yeah. And once spiritual is taken care of, material follows. So it's not that you have to strive so much material and then forget spiritual, but strive for spiritual and material is covered. So live a very comfortable, happy life, even materially. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions or comments about anything so far discussed? Connor, okay. We're like frogs? Well, depends who you ask.
Because the frogs chant, so what's a tadpole?
A tadpole?
Yeah. Is that someone that's sleeping or? And then furthermore, do frogs eat moonworms or glowworms?
Okay, so well, I don't know, I'll let you meditate on that. You can meditate on it the whole week and then come back with an answer. I mean, there's no yeah, ask a frog, he might tell you. Ask him when you're sleeping tonight. I mean, there's no indication of like, okay, I mean, there's no mention that okay, those who are sleeping spiritually are like tadpoles or something. But if you want to think like that, I mean, there is comparison of crows and swans being they have a different nature. Like crows, for example, they like to eat a bunch of garbage. If you notice that, they just bunch of garbage. I could, anyways. I don't want to gross you out too much, but whereas swans, they're in a very they don't go to dirty places, very clean places. So so yeah, there's some comparison like that. Like spiritual seekers are like swans, residing in very clean, peaceful, nice places. And they have the ability, if a swan comes in contact with milk. Now, of course, I know there's the whole, vegan versus vegetarian battle goes on sometimes, but it's a swan, it's an animal, so just for sake, we'll. But when a swan encounters milk, the swan is able to get the milk. It's mixed with water. They're able to the milk that's mixed with water. They're able to, with their beak, get that milk mixed with water, and through particular enzymes in their mouth, they're able to curdle the milk and eat it, drink it, eat it, and then spit out the water. So it says that the spiritual seekers, they're able to understand the essence of life and disregard everything else and understand the essence of life. Whereas the crows, it's just like a field day in the local dump, So yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyways, no analogy is perfect. Just like our teacher would sometimes say, vultures, they fly very high in the sky, right? Is it? Yeah, vultures. They fly very high in the sky. It says, what's their aim? It's a dead carcass. No. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, what's left of dead carcasses. So, like Gora Jivan saying that someone may be very intelligent, but what do they use it for? So it has to, be utilized. Of course, it doesn't have to be. It's a free world. People do whatever they want, but yeah, crows and swans. Yeah, you're saying that the swans are more, or the crows are. Yeah, about crows. Is it crows that they remember your face? Yeah, I think also bulls are like that, or somebody was saying no. Oh yeah, I think it was elephants. Elephants are like that too. If you hurt them or hurt one of their family, they'll remember you years later, and then they'll attack. So yeah, there's some intelligence there. Yeah. Yeah. They do only go so far, analogies. So okay. Does anybody? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. What I'm saying is, you're comparing their body
Yes.
and and we're judging them by their body, but from the self perspective, there is no difference.
Yes. There in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Vidya vanya sampane," that a learned person, they see the same spirit within all living creatures. So a cow, a dog, different creatures, everyone, they see the same spirit. Means they see the living force or the life force, the soul, like we are talking about earlier, indestructible soul. In other words, it's a soul that animates the body. So they see that. They have a spiritual vision. So ultimately, yeah, we're not our bodies, and we're not, the souls who have animal bodies are also not their bodies. They're also souls, happen to have animal bodies. Yeah. But I mean, to analyze things and to think about things, sometimes we, compare and contrast. And like you think, well, which Indian restaurant do I want to go to, for example? Well, do I want to go to the one in downtown or do I want to go to the one in Pacific Beach? All right, let me look at the ratings. All right, the one in Pacific Beach has 1 star. Like 50 people gave it 1 star. Well, I don't know if I really want to go there. All right, downtown. Well, 4 stars. Whoa, hey. All right, I think you can have 5 stars or 4. Yeah, 5. 4 stars. All right, pretty good. Not 5, but all right, I'll check it out. So it's comparing, contrasting, analyzing, using the intelligence or power that we're invested with, and making decisions or learning from things. So whether we're discussing crows and swans or frogs and tadpoles or which Indian restaurant we're going to go to, that's there. So to analyze and to think about and to try to learn from. But yeah, ultimately, all life is divine and all life is, sacred. And so I hope that satisfies you to some degree. Okay. All right. Good. Better. All right. Any last? Yes. We have a few online viewers that hear it better with the microphone.
I understand that, yeah, we are a spirit being in living a human experience.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to ask about, like, how could you handle like the material world and being spiritual, especially like after you had like a spiritual awakening, and like if you're an empath?
If you're what?
An empath is kind of like you could feel people's energy, and then it's kind of like, I don't know if I want to work. if I could feel people's energy, and you understand that you are a spiritual being.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, there's an example that's given. Again, another little analogy we're going here. A night of analogies. In nature, that if you go to Balboa Park, or when you go to Balboa Park, I believe they have lotus flowers there, and they have a pond, lotus pond. It's a very beautiful park, actually, Balboa Park. If you travel all around America, it's a very special park. So, anyways, there's lotus flowers there and lotus leaf, right? Lotus leaf, lotus flower. Now, you could do a little test. If you splash some water onto the lotus leaf, then it pearls up and it just falls right off. So the idea is that we're meant to be like that, not absolutely like a leaf, but in the sense of a lotus leaf. So similarly, we're supposed to. So many things come our way, right? Negativity, this, that, so many different energies. And just as on a lotus leaf, it just pearls off and rolls right off, so we're supposed to be unaffected by the, negative energy of this world, which practically manifests in, if we have a spiritual practice that we're doing daily, that will like empower us to not be so affected. So yeah, it rests on the individual engaging themselves in a spiritual practice of meditation, such as chanting Hare Krishna. And by that, they develop the power to not be so affected. And now some may say, oh, well, that's kind of weird, like what, you don't feel any emotions? Or we feel emotions, but we don't let the emotions control us. That's a difference. Which is a big problem, actually, in the world. People, right, you have all these, what do they call them? Not anger crimes, hate crimes, and so much where we just, as humans, we just lose control of our emotions. So if we're able to have control through spiritual practices, then we may still have those emotions, and we do experience life to its fullest, but we're in control. Those don't get us into trouble. So I would just say, yeah, to continue with spiritual practices and on the spiritual path, and also in terms of dealing with people, I mean, to whatever degree we can, we could try to uplift people. Of course, we shouldn't, walk around thinking we're like, the next Messiah or something, but we could, as a friend helps another friend, we could try to encourage people and be their friend and try to uplift them to whatever degree. I don't know if that.
Yeah, it helps.
Okay.
Use the analogy that, in answering her question, that one should be like the leaf of a lotus flower. And so following the analogy, lotus flower leaves, they live in water, and so do fish. Now fish, the thing about fish is they eat meat. So are you saying that as a spiritualist, we should eat meat?
Good connection there, buddy.
No, I'm sorry, I'm just joking.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Well, it's a amusing question and connection. Relating the leaf to a fish, and fish eat meat, so we should eat meat as spiritualists. Well, it's actually detrimental to spiritual progress to eat meat, because it kind of like, no, you could say it does, say, clog the compassion, let me say veins, arteries, yeah, kind of clogs the compassion arteries. Because like as humans, our heart is pumping right now. if you have some artery, yeah, we all have arteries around our heart, right? If you pumping out, that eating of meat just clogs the compassion, flowing from us. And now, unfortunately, this is not a huge, widespread understanding, even within spiritual circles. Huge spiritual groups and leaders don't discuss this, unfortunately. But our spiritual teacher, not to, oh, we're the best group or something, but our spiritual teacher, we're very, fortunate and very happy that he's right here. Very fortunate and happy that he really discussed these things. Challenged people, actually, like a Cardinal Danilou. You could look it up on YouTube. There's an interesting exchange with him and Cardinal Danilou. Now, Cardinal, whatever, I don't have anything against Catholicism or this Cardinal. It's a very high position, actually. It's like those are the people who, as far as my understanding goes, correct me if I'm wrong, the people, or just believe me if you don't know, I'm just joking. But as far as I understand, the people who vote the Pope in, some of those are cardinals. Now, this Cardinal Danilou was in France, so our teacher was meeting with them, and our teacher said, hey, well, in the Bible it says thou shalt not kill. So why are you killing animals? He said, well, we're not killing animals. But our teacher, well, you're supporting it because you yourself are eating and you're not encouraging your followers to give it up. And why are you doing this? And there was a whole conversation back and forth. And also he would mention this point in America, wherever he would go. Now, it's not that our spiritual teacher was trying to make Christians or Catholics into Hindus or anything like that. But he was just saying, okay, follow your process, whether it be through the Bible or different scriptures, follow it, but really follow it, and you'll make spiritual progress. So that was one of the things, though, eating of meat, which we have. Anyways, it is an important point, and it's definitely a step that helps a lot. So, and even nowadays, from a medical perspective, I mean, you go to Kaiser Permanente or something. Before, people thought vegetarians or vegans or people who don't eat meat are just completely insane. Like that was the thought in America from people I've talked to. They thought it was like a political party or something. Like, you're vegetarian? What political party is that? Anyways, but if you go to Kaiser Permanente now, if you tell them, yeah, I don't eat meat, and they say, oh, very good, healthy. Yeah. So it's accepted more and more and more throughout the world. So yeah, just because we should be like a leaf doesn't mean that, right? Connecting it to a fish who lives in water, who eats meat, doesn't mean we should exactly follow the. So you're okay with that? Oh, you're satisfied. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, I know it's late, but I was thinking. The point I was going to bring up is, as we were already saying, is that try not to get too worked up on analogy or too hung up on analogies, because the only point of a whole analogy is to convey some kind of point, which could be conveyed without an analogy, but sometimes the analogy helps it kind of click. Maybe it helps visualize something like that, or helps you remember. That's a great thing about analogies; helps you remember. It's a great, memorization tool. But otherwise, like a lot of these talks which we have, and actually in different literature we study, they'll use analogies like the sun rays, so many different things. And if you get too hung up on the analogy, you can kind of really miss the point. And I was thinking about how when I first read Moby Dick, which was in, I think I was like in 4th grade or 5th, which I shouldn't have been reading it. But I swear to you.
Why shouldn't you have been reading it?
Because I didn't follow it.
Oh, okay.
This is the point. When I read Moby Dick, I swear to you, I actually thought it was just about the atrocities of like the whaling industry. Like I really thought that's what Moby Dick was about. I thought it was really about, the whole thing was, it's a philosophical way. It's really great. But I actually just thought it was about a man hunting a whale, because that's all I got. I even wrote a paper on it, I swear. So it's, and analogies are great. Symbolism's great, everything. But don't worry if the symbolism or the analogy seems to be demeaning to a particular insect or something like that. It's only to get a point across.
Yeah.
That's all. We're pro insect. We're pro
We're pro
leaf, fish, everything.
frogs,
So, pro
fish,
frog,
leaves,
pro crow.
pro crow. All right. So yes, thank you all very much for visiting us here at the Krishna Lounge. We usually have it next door at the actual Krishna Lounge, but due to the particular time we're in, there's just more space. So yeah, we're here every week. So feel free to stop by again whenever you like. Yeah, and thank you very much. Happy to see all of you.